So today is Monday, December 1st. Welcome to the Ward 5 Town Hall. What I'm going to do is go over some major events that have happened since the last time that I had a town hall. I'm going to go over some of the challenges that we've had over the last year, some of our victories, and then we're going to look at some of the things that we've got coming up. Now, I've got my notes in front of me. I'm going to be looking down sometimes, and that is because I just don't want to forget anything, and that's it. So let's jump right in. So one of the big things that's happened over the last year is that we had redistricting. And so because people are moving to Easley, people move to different areas of Easley, wards get bigger, some get smaller, and periodically we have to redraw the lines, or the lines have to be withdrawn, so that each ward, each city council person represents about the same number of people. This time the state of South Carolina did the drawing of the lines, and I'm happy to say that the new lines are much more rational. They're a lot more compact than the old ones. The old map just was not good. This makes it a lot cleaner. So my ward shifted a fair deal. I don't have Canaan land anymore. That is now in Ward 6, but I definitely want to thank all the people in Canaan land for the input that you've given me, and I will still do whatever I can for you. So we had the Unified Development Ordinance, the UDO. And this is one of the most significant things, definitely. And that was a year-long project to rewrite and consolidate different zoning and development requirements in the city. And so what we did was we passed a moratorium on new developments. So for about a year, there were no new housing developments approved in the city. And this was so that we could get all of these documents together so that we could work out the plan. And the Planning Commission spent a tremendous amount of time and effort on the UDO, and they're really due just a debt of gratitude. Those men, I believe it all is, those men sat in that room and went over things with just a fine-tooth comb. And we are blessed with some really good Planning Commission members. Unfortunately, the proposed plan did not further reduce housing density. Density was reduced prior to the moratorium. I made a motion to reduce it by a further 10%, because overdevelopment is one of the most important issues facing Easley. Unfortunately, my amendment was not adopted. I feel like the UDO process in some respects was rushed, and that what we were asked to vote for was not the final version. So I voted against the UDO on the first reading. Additional changes were made to the UDO just prior to the second reading, and I did not believe it was appropriate to vote without sufficient public input. So I voted against it on second reading. The UDO did ultimately pass. It's a massive document that does draw together and better organize various departmental development regulations. It does also provide tree protections and replacement requirements. I believe that the process could have been handled better and produced better results for the city, but overall it was probably a slight positive for the city. So some of the challenges that we faced over the last year. Oh, sir? Sir?
Yeah.
Please.
I'm sorry.
Oh, please join us.
I'm looking for Lions Club.
Oh,
We
okay.
usually meet in this room.
Oh, okay. I do not know where that is then.
I don't either.
But if you'd like to hear what's happening in local government in Ward 5, we'd love to have you.
Don't get me started. We'll go. I'm just kidding.
All right.
It's supposed to be, but they're using this room, so I guess we can.
So the Lions Club is up and running. We just had someone try to join us for a Lions Club meeting. Great organization, but that is not us. All right. So some of the challenges that we faced over the last year. The city adopted a budget that was about $10 million more than the previous budget. And much of this increase was part of an unused bond fund, a previously unused bond fund by the Parks Department. I voted against the budget. I voted against the budget last year. Cleanup from Hurricane Helene. So cleaning up from the storm debris from Hurricane Helene has taken far longer than was expected, and it's caused a significant debris backlog. Now the city has worked very hard on storm cleanup, but the reason for the delay is that the county severely limited the amount of debris that could be dropped off at the landfill. They were limited it to 2 trucks per day. And as you know, there was just a tremendous amount of debris that needed to be moved. Our Public Works Department was out there doing absolutely everything that they could. Any delay, to be honest, was not a function of the city. They did a very good job on that, to the extent that they were able to. Council pay raise. So the council and mayor were voted a pay raise. Now it's true that it had been approximately 15 years since council or mayor's salary had changed. The mayor does work long hours. It's a thankless job, and I did believe that the mayor's compensation should be increased. I made a motion to separate the mayor's increase from council, so that the mayor would receive an increase, the council would not, but my amendment failed. I did not believe it was appropriate to raise council salaries in a year that the majority of council also voted to raise taxes. And so I voted against raising council salary. It did pass, but that was not something I felt like I could vote for. Selling West End Hall. So the city is currently considering selling West End Hall to the school district. Now the school district owns the underlying land, but the city owns the building. So it is a weird, complicated situation. It complicates any outside sale. But over the last 5 years, the city has spent approximately $1 million renovating the hall. $1 million. It appraised last year for about $1.8 million, but the proposed sale is for $900,000. So about 50% of the appraised value. The school district is currently using it for things like adult education, and that is what they would continue to use it for. Various community organizations also use it, the theater, various charitable groups. So I voted against this at first reading, in part because some of council only learned about this proposed sale on a Thursday and were expected to vote it on Monday. I did not believe that that was sufficient time for community input or for council to weigh the decision on that. And so I voted against the sale. There was a tax increase. So for at least the 6th year in a row, council voted to raise the property tax millage rate. I voted against the tax increase. I voted against the tax increase last year as well. I do not think that additional revenue is always what is needed. And so I voted against the tax hike. But let's talk about some victories. Let's talk about some positive things that happened. So Malden Cemetery. There was an issue in Malden Cemetery, and that's over in Canaan Land. It's a historic cemetery, and there was an issue of people camping in it, homeless people camping in it, also debris being left there, storm debris and just trash being left there. I spoke to the city, and they worked with the residents of Canaan Land to resolve the camping issue and to pick up refuse. Opioid money. So this is one that is a real win for the city. So the city applied for and was granted $330,000 from the National Opioid Settlement. This is a massive fund that is paid by opioid manufacturers as part of the resolution of the overprescribing crisis. What that money is going to be used for is to hire and equip 2 officers who are going to focus on drug education in our schools. Many municipalities in Pickens County have received funds. The municipalities themselves decide how to spend it. It has to be related to opioids, and it can't be used for enforcement. So it's things like education or rehabilitation. So that was a very good thing that our police department did. Roundabout funding. So the 5-way intersection at Canaan Land is incredibly dangerous. 5 different roads come together there. The South Carolina Department of Transportation requested that the city allocate $400,000 toward fixing that intersection, and the other, about $2 million, would come from state funds. And so this was one of the big things that I campaigned on. This is one of the things that a lot of people in the area talked about. I was able to push through an amendment to the budget, I was able to push through a measure that put $400,000 in a lockbox to ensure that those funds were available for that project. That's what the SCDOT, they were looking for a commitment from the city. I was able to push through getting those funds from our paving funds dedicated directly for that project. There was the development moratorium. So when I ran in 2023, one of the major issues I heard campaigning, and that was a focal point of the campaign, was overdevelopment. So in 2024, council voted for a development moratorium, so it paused new developments within the city. That expired once the UDO was adopted. We got a victory on a free market issue. Now this one's going to be, it's going to sound kind of minor, but it's something that was, I think it just goes to show that even the minor things really are important. So the Unified Development Ordinance proposed to require convenience stores to allocate 500 square foot of their sales floor to fresh food, like fruits. Fruits are awesome. People should buy fruit. People should eat fruit. I should eat more fruit. I'm pro fruit, but I am not in favor of the government mandating what private organizations stock and what they sell. So I oppose this requirement at both the Planning Commission and in council. Customers should dictate what private businesses stock, not the government. And the fresh food requirement was ultimately withdrawn after I opposed it. We had a major victory regarding the First Amendment. So there was something called the acceptable use policy that was proposed. So what this was supposed to do was regulate how elected officials used electronic communications, city resources. Some of it was absolute common sense policies, that you couldn't use city resources for your own commercial enterprises. You know, that I can't use my official email to try to sell things. That makes absolute sense. But the policy went far, far beyond that. It represented a serious impingement on the First Amendment rights of council members and also on the right of citizens to hear from their council members. it was even to the point that this video right here, this would have been prohibited. It would have been prohibited to say the city of Easley, for me to say that on social media. Literally the words, the city of Easley. I challenged this very strongly. I was joined by citizens who also showed up and spoke out against this. And fortunately, and I was joined by another council person in opposing it. And fortunately, the measure was withdrawn. So that was a big threat to the First Amendment that we were able to knock down. So some things that are upcoming. This one is a little bit fun. It is chickens. The Planning Commission recommended allowing a limited number of hens to be raised within city limits for educational and social service organizations, for training and therapy. This was an initiative that came from the Dream Center. The restrictions are, it is quite severe restrictions that would still be in place on this, but absolutely people that are doing educational, charitable work, for them to be able to have hens, so you're not having the rooster crowing problem, and a limited number of hens for non-commercial uses. Absolutely happy to support that, and I hope that the rest of council will see that. I am also advocating that council develops a clear set of internal policies and procedures. So some of the things that we've had come up, if we have a set of, this is how you introduce an ordinance, this is how it should be, this is how it should be considered, these are how these issues should be addressed. And some of this exists, some of it exists in different forms, in different places, but we don't currently have a completely unified system of procedures. I think that's going to help eliminate some of the friction. That's going to help us be more transparent and more predictable. So we've talked a lot tonight. If you haven't attended a council meeting in person, I hope that you will. I'm here to serve, and if there's an issue that I can help you with, if there's something that I'm doing that you're not happy with,